Thank you for joining us to learn how Family Solutions for Care can provide you additional value for your prospects and your clients who have long-term care insurance. I'm Bob Rayo, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity to partner with Fairway Mortgage. Family Solutions for Care is a consumer advocate for people that have long-term care insurance claims. So our company was founded by David and Wendy Reinhardt, and David and Wendy came out of the long-term care insurance industry and actually sold long-term care insurance for Genworth for about 20 years. So very well versed in the product, understood all the elements of the coverage, and like many people in this industry, Wendy went through a personal experience with a family member and was attempting to get insurance benefits honored by an insurance company, and learned that there really was value there that she would like to give back to all those folks that she had sold long-term care insurance to that may have the same difficulty in navigating that claimant maze. And the predecessor company you may be familiar with was known as Claim Jockey, and Claim Jockey kind of morphed into Family Solutions for Care. And over the last 5 years or so, we have secured over $175 million in benefits for claimants. So we have an extremely compassionate claims team. They have over 75 years of collective experience. They deal with our families, and they deal with the insurance companies, and they provide that conduit between the claimant and their benefits. We've developed very strong relationships with all the major insurance carriers. I mean, we know who the proper go-to people are. We know how to reach them, and we know how to navigate the obstacles. And over the past 5 years, we've handled thousands of claims. So what makes long-term care insurance claims so challenging? So first, the policies can be extremely confusing and inconsistent. And believe it or not, there are over 400,000 variations of those policies. And they are overwhelming from the standpoint of most people being able to understand the terms and conditions and interrelationships in all that fine print. And it takes many phone calls to try to reach someone to be able to discuss a policy with the insurance company. I mean, many times you're on hold for an hour. It can take 5 to 7 calls to get the right person to have a conversation with a real person about a claim. So very difficult. And if it wasn't difficult enough over the last 30 days, based on the crisis that we're dealing with in our country, many of those insurance companies have become even more difficult to reach. So take John Hancock as an example. John Hancock had a large call center in the Philippines and was attempting to handle all their calls out of that center. That center has now been closed, and those calls have been dispersed to other people around the country, so making it extremely difficult to get a hold of people to discuss these claims. And as you may know, many times the families are located 500 miles away from their loved one, and they're trying to help that person navigate their benefits from a totally different state, many times never having even seen the long-term care insurance policy. And like all insurance claims, claimants very rarely understand what to say, and more importantly, what not to say when they're dealing with the insurance company. So to properly qualify and to maximize those benefits, you have to be very careful of how you deal with that insurance company. All these policies have some type of an elimination period. They can range from 30 days to over 180 days before benefits would start. So during that period of time, the family has to be prepared to come up with out-of-pocket cash to support their loved ones. If they need that care now, that policy will likely not kick in from 30 to 180 days. And many insurance companies just seem to want to find reasons not to pay. I mean, it's terrible to say, and I don't know if it's based on the original actuarial assumptions that were made back when 20 or 30 years ago, 40 years ago, many of these policies were written. I'm not sure there was a clear enough view of the number of people that were going to require payments to begin all in the same time period, like this period that we're in now, where the demographics of the baby boomers is causing so many people now to seek care. It may be related to the fact that no one ever expected healthcare costs to escalate as much as they have in our country. But for whatever reasons, we seem to constantly be trying to dodge, log jams and obstacles that the insurance company is throwing in front of people that are trying to initiate claims. And then finally, in some states, there are laws that have been passed that actually override some of the terms of the policies. And they're different state by state, and you really have to understand how they work in your particular state to take advantage of that. For some of you that may have even gone through this in your own lives, you know that this can be an extremely overwhelming and stressful time. So enter Family Solutions for Care to eliminate all that time and stress of dealing with the insurance company or the medical providers and understanding how to get that initial claim started and being certain that we reduce the possibility of any mistakes made in that filing that could result in less of a benefit, could result in a delay in the payment starting, or could result in interruption of the coverage. We take on that entire burden and take on all the stress related to that. We have experts who negotiate with these insurance companies. As I said, this is all we do every day. We know how to do it. It results in the claimant being able to receive the maximum level of care as soon as they possibly can. So often we're able to support the providers providing even a higher level of care that they may not have even realized could have been covered under the policy. So we really help get that claimant the best and the most care they can possibly derive out of that policy. As I mentioned, we certainly go about reducing or totally satisfying the elimination period to reduce those out-of-pocket expenses. And our average client receives $23,000 in their very first check. So some people are going to receive more than that. Some obviously will receive less. But over the 5 years, on average, our client receives $23,000 in their first check. So we are highly successful in going back and reducing that elimination period and finding retroactive refunds, for our clients. So here's a graphic that kind of explains it a bit in a picture form. So assume this line here is the date that we are filing the initial claim and getting the claimant moved in this case, let's say to an assisted living community. So assume that the price for that community is $5,000 a month, which is a pretty good average. So during that 90-day elimination period, the family is going to be responsible for $15,000. And then as we go back and look at the retroactive benefits, and we find an earlier care that could trigger the start of that policy, from that point forward, wherever that may be, then we're going to be able to recover all those benefits up to that point, plus satisfy that elimination period. So that results in not only the average initial check being $23,000, but also saving that average claimant $15,000 that they didn't have to pay the community for the first 3 months of their care. So a very valuable service that allows the family to recover their money. It helps them certainly be able to pay for our services, but it helps the claimant receive the absolute best care they possibly can as soon as they possibly can. So what kind of value does this bring to the Fairway loan originators? So first, it is obviously another opportunity for a conversation starter. It gives you something else to talk about to your prospect or your client regarding long-term care insurance, and allows you to introduce to the other partners in your network, so the other types of people that you typically partner with at a local level every day. It allows you to introduce a vetted expert who your company recognizes as a partner for long-term care insurance claims. That lets you leverage our track record to provide the maximum benefit possible for that claimant. If that claimant is your customer and they're a customer for a reverse mortgage, and at some point are going to need that service, you're bringing them even more value by helping them better understand all their funding options as they seek long-term care. It also provides an opening to talk about how the reverse mortgage can backfill for long-term care insurance. So at some point, those benefits are going to be exhausted. And in many cases, that claimant is going to require continued service, continued residence in that community, or continued in-home care. So the reverse mortgage can be a great solution if someone is still in the home to provide the funds to be able to do that. Also, it's an option to provide cash flow for funding the care that may be needed during the elimination period. So prior to us being able to go off and do our retro look back and to satisfy the elimination period, that claimant is going to need care right away. The average cost in an assisted living community may be $5,000 a month. The reverse mortgage clearly gives them the ability to have funds to do that. And then finally, it's just another resource in your tool bag that lets you provide a further resource to the other people in your network. So in the case of financial planners dealing with people that are planning their financial future and maybe not at a point of needing long-term care insurance, but that the family has long-term care insurance, you can introduce them to an expert that has another resource that can help them be more successful in dealing with the people that you're mutually dealing with as a client base. So one of the things we did is we developed what we call a resource page. So this is a landing page that lives on our website, specifically branded for Fairway. So it gives you a brief overview of what we do. There's the ability to use some of this educational material to help train new employees. There's a button to download a one-page flyer that can be a brochure to hand to a policyholder. It gives you the ability to refer someone to us. Very easy referral process. You fill the form out here, you hit submit. We get back to you typically within a couple of hours, certainly within 24 hours, and talk to the family to discuss the process, get the copy of the policy, and go forward with the services we're providing. One of the other things that's on here, and you don't see it on this particular page, it's a new button on the live page you'd see right over in this area, but it's kind of an outline of what we do during that free policy review. So it's kind of a step-by-step. It just gives you a higher level of understanding of what that process looks like. And again, that's specifically to Fairway. You can see it at this URL. Get an opportunity to visit it. Go back often because we're adding new tools. I will be sure that this presentation is included there, so you have a place where you could replay it, you could go back and look at it again, or if you could direct other of your associates to it that may not have been able to attend this particular webinar. So kind of in summary here, I mean, we are really honored to help the families that you serve. I mean, we feel very lucky to be in a position to have helped so many people take better advantage of their benefits and to fund the care that those seniors need at a very difficult time in their lives. That's all we do. You can see a lot of other information on our website. If you get an opportunity, visit us here. There's testimonials, there's other information on our process. You can always call us at this number. This is my contact information. I am always available to help you in any way that I can. We've had several meetings with Harlan and his team. We work very closely with them, and we actually have one of your loan originators out in Washington State, Kim Prater, is actually a client of Family Solutions for Care, and I know Kim would be very willing to share his personal experience with you. If you have questions for Kim, please reach out to him. And then go back and visit your resource page often and get an idea of some of the things that we can do to help Fairway bring more value to your valued clients. So again, thank you very much for your time today and for attending this. And we look forward to working with you and making this partnership a success. Thank you very much.